Guys, we are back with a brand new edition of the Screen Team. We are doing an hour-long edition of the show. We've got some pretty stellar movie reviews for you this evening. We're going to be reviewing movies like In Bruges and Short Circuit and the Best Picture of 2017, Moonlight. We'll get to that a little bit later on in the show. This half hour of the show, we're going to be dealing with movie reviews like War for the Planet of the Apes, John Wick 2, and first up is the movie Big Chill. And to help me talk about this film is the very lovely Toby Spencer.
Well,
Toby.
Hello. Thank you.
Man, it is so good to see you. So good that you were happy enough to come and help us with this review.
Especially this movie. This is one of my favorites.
Mine too. And oddly enough, my first recollection of this movie was not really the movie, but it was the soundtrack.
The music.
The soundtrack. I remember when I was younger, my dad, I think he either had a cassette of the soundtrack or vinyl of it. I remember just putting it in or him putting it in or something like that and just listening to the music that was in the movie. And I was introduced to the movie years later, obviously, but the music obviously is a key vehicle.
It's what binds the whole plot line together.
Yeah. This movie is kind of like a coming-of-age film for people who have already come of age a little bit, right?
It is. And to watch how you know, when you're young and in college, you have a career path or a life path you think you're going to take. And when you get 10, 15 years down the road, you realize you didn't stick to that path or life took you in a different direction, and how that affects you growing up with the kids you went to high school or college with, and when they come back together to see how everyone's changed.
Yeah. They kind of meet and they come together on sad circumstances.
They do.
One of their best friends or one of the people that was in the group had passed away and he committed suicide, I believe.
Suicide. And do you know who originally was cast as the person that committed suicide?
That would be Kevin Costner.
Kevin Costner, and they cut his face out of the movie. So all we ever saw were at the very beginning, at the credits when things are starting, they're obviously getting somebody dressed, and you see the wrist, and you see the stitches, and they pull the shirt down over it, and you realize what has happened.
Playing the Stones, you can't always get what
you want.
So many good songs, so many good actors in this film. I mean,
it's such a great ensemble.
It really is. Tom Bergeron, Glenn Close,
William Hurt,
Jeff Goldblum,
Meg
Kevin
Tilly,
Kline,
Mary Kay Place, and Jo Beth Williams. And I think they were just so suited for the roles that they played.
Do you have any favorite characters from the film? Anybody you relate to the most?
Well, to be honest, I grew up with a group just a lot like this. I think that's why I bonded with the movie so much. Is I grew up. There were 10 of us. We called ourselves the Rat Patrol, and it was kind of the same type thing.
Really?
Oh yeah,
that's cool.
And that's why it struck me so hard. Is because some of us did deal with depression, and we all didn't take the paths that we had expected to do. Yeah. When I was married, the Glenn Close character I could relate to very much so. Now it's more the Jo Beth Williams, Mary Kay Place, because they were single women, or one was married, but her marriage was falling apart.
Right.
Mary Kay Place is a career woman. She's trying to find her way, too. And how those things I could see a little bit of myself in each of those female characters. Yeah. But the guys in my group growing up, I saw them in each one of those characters also.
All right, hold on a second. So there was a guy in your group that was similar to Jeff Goldblum.
Yes. Yes. Very much so. Yes.
The whole movie, he's trying to score with all the ladies. All of them.
And they're all blowing him off. Yes.
Oh, my goodness.
And we also had our Kevin Kline, one of the guys was like him. We had our William Hurt that snorted, took whenever somebody passed around, but he was kind of dealing with a lot of trauma too, and then you have your Meg Tilly character, who was kind of the little sister to each one of those that they all finally embraced as one of their own.
Yeah. Such a powerful movie. Do you have any favorite scenes from the film?
I love when they're cleaning the kitchen up. They're having dinner and oh shoot! I just went blank on the song.
I know you want to leave me,
but I refuse to let you go. Yeah. And they're all dancing, and they end up in this group dance. Also, and when they all wake up the next morning after having the big party, and Kevin Kline has bought them all Nike tennis shoes. Yeah. He's determined they're going to try to get themselves healthy. Yeah, right. But I don't know how all of them deal with the grief. What fascinated me because everybody dealt with it in a different way. and we're getting to that age now. We're facing a little bit of that ourselves, and just how they came back together and tried to relate. First, they tried to relate as they did in college, realized that's not going to work anymore. Let's find out who each other is now. What have we come to be?
Yeah.
And it's fascinating.
Such a powerful, it's a fascinating movie, powerful film, and I'm curious, do you still get together with your group, and do you guys still meet up? And...
Facebook is a wonderful thing. Whether we physically get together or not, I've reconnected with about 4 or 5 of them via Facebook. One of the girls I've stayed close to, but everybody kind of went their separate ways. Luckily, like I said, I did reconnect. One, we've lost completely track of her, and I kind of see her as my Kevin Costner character.
Oh, wow.
It's just one of those things that you relate to each one in a certain way, and that's life.
Yeah. It's such a powerful film. It's one of those kind of lost classic kind of things. People where you're like, oh, yeah, I kind of remember that film, but I think
it's worth to go back and visit it again.
If
nothing else,
shot,
like you said,
yeah.
for the music. But if you saw it 10 or 15 years ago, watch it again and see if you don't relate to it in a different way.
Very true. Toby, thank you for being on the show, man.
Glad
Appreciate you. Movie's called The Big Chill, and you can find it on DVD. We're coming right back with the brand new John Wick 2 film. It's coming your way next, right here on the Screen Team.